First of all, I want to apologize for any vibrational noise you might hear. That's going to be either a text message, a Facebook message, or an email notification, or something like that. So I do apologize first and foremost if you hear that throughout this audio video. All right. So you can see the title, and the title basically is a question that I'd like to try to answer because I'm sure people will wonder it, as well, or wonder about it as well. And that is, why do I defend Dale and Gadget, as what would have been a possible couple item from Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers? Well, the reason I defend it is because, well, let's be honest. When you watch all 65 episodes, and we can watch them, back all we want on Disney Plus, or pop them into our 4K Blu-ray player, if you have a 4K Blu-ray player, like I do, and watch them in stunning 4K, because you can get that up converted because of that, the signal and everything. We can go and rewatch the episodes all we want, and we can see, all the moments, all the hints, all the Easter eggs that pretty much pinpoint to the fact that Disney was planning to put these two together, or at least they were hinting at it. They were teasing us. They were saying, yeah, Dale and Gadget are going to be, an item, in the show. It was very evident, very obvious. Let me get some Pepsi here for a second. Like I said, it was very obvious, very evident, almost from the get-go. Almost. How many times did she hug Dale? Like I've said before, she's hugged him more than Chip. How many times, has she been, around him, outside of being part of the team? More so than with Chip. You kind of see what I'm saying? The point is, the point I'm getting at is just a lot of moments in there that, just again, hint at the fact, or at least tease the fact that Disney was going to go in that direction, that Tad Stones and his crew were going to go in that direction. Now, I'm sure people are thinking or saying to themselves, well, that's your opinion. That's your opinion, Brian, and it is my opinion. But again, when you really get down to it, I think the evidence is just there. It really is. Of course, you have Double O Chipmunk. Double O Chipmunk is probably the best example, in my opinion. But you also have things like, moments, in, let's say Cattery's Not Included, the very first episode. In that little moment at the beginning with her, Dale, and Chip, and, Dale being, and I do apologize for that notification there, email notification. But that moment between her, Dale, and Chip, and at first it starts out with Chip, and then Dale takes over, and he's the one that comes close to kissing her on the lips or the cheek or whatever. And she's all for it. Come on, seriously. Seriously, there's that moment. There's the moment in Carpet Snackers. You could have paired her up with anybody else or paired him up with anybody else, but they didn't do that. They put them together. And why was the reason? So we can get that moment. Not only could Dale be shown what Gadget was suspicious about as to why the carpets were able to fly, but we also would get that moment where he caught her as she fell off the necklace she was climbing down because of the wind, and her reaction when he caught her, the way she thanked him. Come on, you can't tell me, that wasn't done intentionally. That moment wasn't put in there intentionally. And let me remind you of something too. When the Jets did the music video for Rescue Rangers, what was one of the scenes that was used, a lot in that music video? Dale catching Gadget. That's right, Dale catching Gadget. That scene was used multiple times in that music video. You don't believe me? Go back here on YouTube, or on YouTube if you listen to this otherwise, and see exactly what I'm talking about. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about, I should say. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, that scene was used a lot in that music video. And I think even used through some of the advertisements, for the Rescue Rangers, pre-Disney afternoon, post-Disney afternoon, pre-Disney block, well, not pre, but during the Disney block party, which was on Disney Channel, and even when they were on Toon Disney, that scene to help promote Rescue Rangers was used, probably more so than anything. So to me, it's like, yeah, they were hinting at something. Even after the show was done, they were hinting at, yeah, this was the plan. Again, you can't tell me that wasn't the case. Excuse me again. And again, like I said, Double O Chipmunk, great example. Song of the Nightingale, another good example. Another good example there. In fact, here's another good one. The Last Leprechaun. I think that's what it's called. The Last Leprechaun or something like that. Who seemingly looks more pissed off, when that leprechaun basically switches places with Dale and causes Dale to get caught. Who's the one that seems to be a little bit more pissed off, especially after Chip and Monty hold the guy up against the wall? Who's standing offish a little bit, but almost you could just tell is not happy. She's pissed. Who is it? Who's that one? Who's that? Oh, that's Gadget. That's that way. And she's the one that actually delivered the final blow to that Banshee, if you will, when she cut off that chandelier, which was a surprise because that's the only death of a villain, the only villain death in that show. And she's the one that did it. She's the one that, cut that, final blow onto the Banshee. And again, Dale was also a central character in this, when it came to that. So it's like, come on. You cannot tell me that they were not putting these moments in there for a reason. I mean, heck, when Dale blew the leprechaun the raspberry after he was trying to not believe him anymore, what does she do? She pushes him with a smile on the face. She pushes him through that wall that's supposed to stop them, but the magic is so weak, they walk right through it. Come on. You got that moment. Like I said, you got Song of the Nightingale. You got her wanting to be. You got her in Le Perfect Crime. In the episode Le Perfect Crime, if you will. You got her being the one that wants to go after Dale. First and foremost, like before they do anything, she wants to go look for him. I mean, again, these are just very subtle moments. Very subtle moments that you're like, okay, there's something there. It makes you think. Like, okay, there's something there that obviously we're not seeing, but obviously they're hinting at. And what else? What else is there? Oh, let's see. Trying to think. Oh, how about this moment? Okay? How about towards the end of the episode of Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, she ends up, rewiring the metamorphosizer wrist, the little wristwatch metamorphosizer, right? She's rewiring it and everything. And then after she says a line of the electronics were kind of simple, what happens? The metamorphosizer lets off a spark, and she jumps into the arms of who? Not Chip, not Monty, no. She jumps into the arms of Dale. And somebody even commented when I put this clip up on the YT, they even commented that that's because sometimes someone will jump into the arms of those they feel safe around. You know what I'm saying? Look, the point I'm getting at, ladies and gentlemen, is you can have your choice of who you feel, your choice and opinion of who you feel she should be with. One person that feels that she should be with Chip is AC Racebest. But his wife, Sarah, Toodles is her online name. She is like myself and many others. She's a Dale and Gadget supporter. And I think Toodles may or may not agree with some of the scenarios I'm pointing out. I mean, here's the other reason why I defend it. They are the exact opposite of the opposites attract tagline, if you will. The exact opposite. And why? Because both have more in common than we think. And sometimes that does work in the favor of attractiveness and those getting together. I mean, one, they're both imaginative and creative. For Dale, you want a good example of that? Check out Double O Chipmunk. And then, what else? Gadget, she has shown, if you look at the beginning of a Creep in the Deep episode, she's shown to be someone that would be willing to lay back, relax, and not want to have to, go take a case that feels silly and, nonsensical and everything. I mean, come on, seriously. Come on. There's stuff there that makes you go like, yeah, they could work together as an item. And also the fact that Gadget, again, like I said, she's creative, imaginative, she's scatterbrained, but also she has a heart. She has a big heart. Dale the same way. He has a big heart, but he's also very laid back, if you will. He likes to have fun, read comics, if you will, but has a big heart, and also, like Gadget, is very creative, very inventive. And again, they bounce off each other very well. I mean, a good example of this is how they support each other. Like, again, going back to Gadget, wanting to look for Dale first in the absolutely perfect crime, or doing what she did for him in Double O Chipmunk, or asking him to be the first, to check out, to use the Ranger Ring, or to test pilot the Ranger Wing with her, and not Chip and Monty. It's like, come on, it's like, what? It's like, what more evidence do you need? Okay? And then the ending when she hugs him and everything, it's like, come on. And then another one, RoboCat. That episode. Dale is supporting her. He's at her side because she wants to give this mechanical cat a second chance. Because she can sense good. And Dale is with her on this. I mean, I'm trying to find the right words to say here. I mean, it's like if that doesn't tell you anything, that, Disney and Tad Stones and his crew were hinting at this being the direction they would go in, I don't know what does. I don't. I really don't. And here's the other thing, too. We know that back in the early 90s, after DuckTales Treasure of the Lost Lamp, we know Rescue Rangers was going to be the next one in line, right? We know that. We know they were going to be the next in line to get a film. And this film, in my opinion, may have ended up serving as the series finale, for the show. And I do apologize for that vibration again. I do apologize for that. But again, this movie, in my opinion, might have served, or would have served, as the finale for the show. And we all know that with finales, you got to have some questions finally answered. One of the questions fans have always had is who would Gadget choose? Would it be Chip or Dale? Now, we know when it comes to that meta movie that they did by the Lonely Island Boys and everything, that meta satire BTS-like movie to where the Rangers were actually actors and actresses, if you will, taking part in the show. We know that in that one she chose Zipper. But let's not forget, that is a meta joke. That's a meta joke and take on what really happens behind the scenes sometimes with actual actors and actresses on a show. That's a meta joke. That's a satire joke, not to be taken seriously. So we could shelve that. All right? But when it comes to movies based on shows, whether theatrical or made for television, they're always meant to, like a series finale, meant to answer the questions everybody wants to know. And in this case, it would be who she would choose. And I believe, my theory and opinion, that based on everything we saw in the show, the moments, the hints, and all that I truly believe she would have chose Dale. I really do. Because, again, you look at all the moments she's had with Dale and vice versa, how many times he got hugged by her and, supported by her. I mean, come on, it's just too evident. Too many hints, too many Easter eggs, too much evidence right in front of your face not to indicate the fact that, yeah, Dale was going to be the choice in the movie. But then the question would be, how would the explanation come? Like, why would she choose Dale over Chip? And I think the obvious explanation is because Chip would basically be described as somewhat of a workaholic, someone that likes to just constantly look for the next crime and mystery to solve, and doesn't know when to take time to relax and just enjoy himself and enjoy life, like Dale does, and like she does to an extent as well. So I think that would have been the explanation, as to why I believe Dale would have been the one chosen in that movie that was supposedly scheduled, or at least planned to be scheduled for release after Treasure of the Lost Lamp in the 90s. But again, that's just my opinion. That's just my theory. My opinion and my theory. What I'm getting at, guys, is when you have the kind of evidence, the kind of, scenarios and moments and scenes spawned throughout a show, whether it's live action or animated, between two characters, then eventually that's leading to something. I mean, let's take a look at Friends. One of the biggest questions of will it happen, will it not happen, was between Rachel and Ray. I think that's the guy's name, Rachel and Ray. It's like, would it happen? Would it not happen? Is it going to happen? There's hints here, there's hints there. Guess what? At the end of the show, what happened? They got together. They had the on and off moments, but at the end they got together because the showrunners, the people, had planned it that way. They said, we're teasing it. We're going to have some moments here and there, ups and downs. But at the end of the day, these two are together, and that's it. And that's what they did. That's what they did. They put them together. You take a look at X-Men Evolution, that take on X-Men, when they're like high schoolers and everything. Let's take a look at that. Throughout that entire show, even though we all knew the answer, because you read the comics, you watch the original X-Men show and everything on Fox, you knew the answer, but the way they kept teasing it was, will they, won't they? And at the end, it was, they will. The answer was, they will, between Cyclops Scott Summers and Jean Grey. And again, even if you didn't watch the original X-Men before that, or even read the comics, you pretty much knew just by the hints they were giving off that, yeah, this would be the direction they're going to go in. They're going to put those two together. And those are the kind of vibes I got with, Rescue Rangers when it came to Dale and Gadget. The fact is that it definitely felt like they were going to go in the direction of putting them together. And I think had the movie happened, the original movie planned for the 1990s release, after Treasure of the Lost Lamp, had it happened as originally planned, I think that would have not only served as a series finale, but that would have answered the question of who is she going to choose? And I think the obvious answer was going to be Dale. Now, I know people might say, well, what about Boom Studios Comics continuation? Look, you can take that as gospel as much as you want. You could say that's a sort of a soft rebooted continuation of the show, and it is to an extent. It is a continuation, soft rebooted continuation of the show. I am not disagreeing with that. But here's the thing. That comic, it was done by a fan. I mean, why do you think we got hints of Dale and Foxglove being an item? I'm just saying. And why do you think it was acknowledged in some notes at the end of one issue of them being an on and off boyfriend-girlfriend deal? It's because this was a person that was a fan of the show, part of the fan community, that saw that fans wanted to see those two together. But the thing is, to keep it open-ended, for possibly Dale to maybe go with Gadget, if that's what fans wanted, they said it was an on and off thing between Dale and Foxglove. So even if fans didn't want Dale with Foxglove, because it was on and off, it kept things open-ended, for him to go and be with Gadget, because a lot of fans wanted that as well. So again, you can take that as gospel. That's fine. You can take the soft rebooted continuation of the show in Boom Studios Comics as gospel, and that's fine. That's your choice, But I think if you put that to the side, you don't acknowledge that as the continuation, which it is to an extent. But if you kind of put that to the side and shelve it and just look at it from the show perspective of the 65 episodes we got and what would have been a possible film, then I think you would agree that Dale would have ended up with Gadget. And again, this is why I defend it, though. And this is why I defend it, because, again, of everything that was hinted at, visually, Easter egg wise and so on, it just felt like this was the direction they were going to go in with these two. It just felt too obvious. In my opinion. But that's just my opinion. That's my opinion and why I defend, the Dale and Gadget pairing, or could have been pairing, in Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, guys? Do you agree with some of what I said here? Did you see some of the moments and hints and Easter eggs that I mentioned that could have led you to believe that, that might have been the direction Disney was going to go in? Or do you think maybe what we got with the comics is the direction they would have gone in, and maybe we should just look at it that way? Let me know. Let me know down below in the comment section, as well as in the live chat during the premiere if you haven't already. Again, I do apologize for the little vibration notification there. That was a Facebook message that came in. But let me know what your thoughts are. And until then, I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all take care. God bless.